Hey everybody, welcome back to Life in the North 40. I'm Rick.
And I'm Brittany.
Welcome back and thanks for being patient for our next video in the series of turning a shed kit into an off-grid custom bathroom.
Thanks for being patient with our videos. We have two coming out really close together. That way we can update you on all of our progress. We had an extremely busy summer. Rick had a lot of fun in Alaska and we just had a ton of family events. So now we are back to the grind and we can't wait to show you the progress. Let's go. So we have an off-grid cabin that does not have a bathroom. So we are turning a shed kit, a planter shed kit, into our bathroom.
I need to cut this drain pipe to a 1/2 inch above the floor. I'm a little nervous because once I cut this, I'm done. So I've already put a 1/2 inch line around that pipe from the floor. And I bought this PVC pipe cutter because if you're like me and you're not a professional plumber, once you have a pipe in like this, if you're using a hacksaw, it's next to impossible to get a level, straight cut on your pipe. I'm sure there's some pros out there that can do that by hand and eyeball. I can't. I'm very inconsistent. I start straight and it curves. So the beauty of this is I can get it right on that line, make sure it's level, and I hopefully will be able to ratchet cut right into this. So there we go. I need to take care of this sink floor drain. Now, this is an off-grid bathroom. I mean, I could live with this coming up, and I'm going to put a counter over the top of this. I'm doing an inline in-wall vent. I am going to push this inside the wall now. Now, the reason it's inset away from the wall floor plate is because if you remember in my earlier series, I have a 4x4 that sits right on the edge of this floor frame that obstructed me from being able to push this inside the wall measurements, if you will. So I'm going to turn this back into the wall. So what I did is I got the right fittings here. These fittings will literally put that right where I want it. And then I'm going to run this up. Now, question, how high do you want this to be before you do your turnout? And I'm converting this from this ABS 2-inch to 1.5 pipe. So that'll be on here like this. Then it's going to go 1.5 pipe as well with this reducer up into this inline wall vent, all right, for the drain. I'm going to cut this pipe 3/4 up from the floor. That looks good, a little high, but that's okay. We'll do a test fit. Yeah. Oh yeah, right on there. See where we're at with this. So this here, you want the drain, you see how that kind of angles down, you don't want to have it flipped. We're coming in from the sink, this way it'll go right down, and this is going to go to our 1.5 pipe. This is a reducer into the wall vent. Because this is just a vent, we don't need to pipe, tape, or glue this or anything. Just screws in. I cut a little shorter than I thought. I did my math wrong as usual, but that's okay. All right, so we can glue this in now, I reckon. It's tucked inside the wall studs pretty good. I should be able to get my wall boards over it. I got this angled a little bit towards this stud since it's not completely centered on the stud for the window. That turned out well, and I think it's gonna work great for a hand washing sink. So I've got 12 2x3 studs here. 10 of them are actually gonna go to supplement the wall studs for the corner shower wall kit. That's one. Since I have the outer edges of these additional stud runs or double studs, I'm just gonna go ahead and screw these together with a couple 2-inch screws. They'll be easier to toenail in that way. And now that we got these studs in, I have to, as per the directions for the corner shower kit, walls and really for the surround that will go in after the walls, I have to take a stud, which I'm using a 2x3 because everything else is 2x3. The bottom line is I have to have a 7/8 reveal sticking past these studs, which I've went ahead and marked. I've got my 7/8 reveal marked. These also have to be 6 inches off the ground, not from the bottom plate, but from the ground. So I made that mark, and these studs are rising a little too high for this horizontal top plate of the wall panels. So I've made my mark, and I need to cut those with a jigsaw, basically notch them. So I've got this one done. That's 3/4 of an inch. It's got to come off. You see I got my 7/8 reveal here. And these have to be 6 inches up, so that puts this needing to be notched about 5/8 off this top chunk. And again, these are to catch that surround as it mounts and goes into place. 6 inch, okay. Let's check this one and see. Shower time. So we're going to check out these 2 corner stall walls now. What I'm doing now is I've already checked my floor pan and I got the drain installed, dry fitted it, looking good. So we're looking good up here. I added a 2x3 stud that I cut across the top so I could catch the top portion of this flange to screw it in. These things look like they're falling right on our stud run, and our protruded 7/8 is hitting inside this raised area that pops out. Really nice. Looks like that's going to snug up nice on both of those sides. Before I can install this, I need to get my pipe run behind here. I'm going to attempt to put foam board in. I do have to run 1/2 inch PEX through here, which should give me enough room for 1/2 inch foam board. So my intent is to get just a base level of insulation in the walls. I don't know about the ceiling because we do have the plexiglass open window area to bring in sunlight. So I'm gonna lose heat right there passing through those anyway. So I don't know that I'm gonna put a drop ceiling or panels in the ceiling. The walls though, today is my test to see while I'm running the PEX, do I have enough room with foam board behind it?
Yeah, let's see. Maybe it'll be a good little fit, actually. All right, that's not bad. It's nice and snug, actually.
What I've learned out here, building off-grid out on my property in the Rocky Mountains, where you're a ways from a store, don't throw anything away. Because you know what? I've done that so many times in my gut. I'm like, don't throw it away. Days, if not a week later, I was like, why did I throw that away? I could have used a part of that or something off of it or the item. Anyway. All right, so you can see I turned all my insulation around. I think I did not read anything in the instructions about which direction this needs to face. But I did see on their brochure, and the writing is always in their pictures was facing to the outside of the structure. And then siding would go over the top of that. So we already have siding on. We're coming from the inside. I have turned the writing side back out. The only spot that really affected was the template for this, although it fit flipping it around wider down below, and that's good because I had too big of a gap anyway. So I'm just going to piece in another couple little pieces that I try to cut to fit, custom fit in here. Just today, this is pretty slow go. It's just basically cutting pieces of a puzzle. Up high here, I'm not going to worry about yet because I want to put a 12-volt fan up there. It'll be kind of co-located between the shower here and the sink over here to evacuate steam. One more piece. feel good having it done. The only thing I haven't done is up here in the gables, the gable angles. I'll do those later. I am gonna punch a fan either here or here, right above the shower sink area, 12-volt fan. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to get my 10-inch piece of flashing material wood screwed into the side butt ends of these 4x4s under the base here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this sealed off. I got a little trench dug so I can backfill up against it. I'm gonna attempt to get that run on. It's a 91-inch piece, corner to corner. And then I'm gonna try to spray paint that metal black and see how that works. That seems to be sticking pretty well. This is a flat primer black. It's shiny right now as it's drying, but you know what? That looks pretty good. It's an easy, quick fix to seal off this underbelly. And I'm gonna let that dry. I've got the trench here, my spoils here. I'll be able to backfill right up against that metal once it's dry and seal it off. All right, so that's got a good seat up against that floor frame and down along those cement pillars. Once I backfill the dirt in here, may have to drop something down and do a piece right here. I'm gonna backfill that dirt up once this dries, and then we're gonna have paver brick coming up this path. This whole landing here is gonna be stone pavers in here. So we'll have a step up to this floor right here. So this area will be covered up by some stones. We'll have some stones over in here too, so. 6.5. We'll cut that. All right, we got that painted and all cleaned up, so that's looking good. This right here will get butted up to each other once I fill the dirt in down below. Well, this has turned out to be a very difficult deal. I've got 1-inch screws here. That's all I can work with down here with this flexible deal. And I got them started because I just can't get in here. I knew that I did this too close. It's killing me. So hopefully I can get these screwed in. I got one in. Well, I don't know if you can see down in there very good, but I got that metal skirting, those gutter covers screwed on, and boy, let me tell you what, that was a difficult task. So now I'm gonna go ahead and backfill that. All right, so we've got that front skirting backfilled, and that front face, that dirt's all kind of clumpy still, but I just got it backed up against that metal. We'll get some more dirt and we'll get that raked and packed down. This side's sealed in and backfilled as well. But yeah, so that's good and sealed in now. Got that dirty job handled.
A shout out to Rick's mom. She sewed these curtains for us for the cabin, so we have some privacy. She was one of our many visitors that we had, and she spent like 2 days sewing these curtains for us. They're super cute little wildlife.
Well, I'm pumped because my outdoor storage box, this Keeter storage box, this Outdoor Store at Prime poly box, was supposed to show up 3 days from now, and it showed up early, which is great because I am now knee deep in getting my PEX plumbing in the bathhouse or the bathroom. This is going to be where I'm doing all my pipe junctions shut-off valve, storing my propane bottle for the tankless hot water heater, and I'm going to do my electrical board in here too. My solar will come in too. So by getting this today, I can get this assembled and get it back up against the backside of the bathhouse. I was curious, to have this set in place, roughly set in place, to figure out where I want to stub into this, or out of this, into the cabin wall for my PEX runs for the shower and for the sink. That guy can open. That guy can open all the way. All right. For a containerized option that's sitting really tight up against the cabin, that's going to be waterproof and not rot, this is a good deal. I'm pretty happy so far. So, dug this out, got the doors wide open. What I wanted to show you is I checked level, and we are dead on that way. And we are good that way. Well, now that we've got that box, that storage box kind of figured out, I'm ready to get hopping and popping on this plumbing setup. And now that the insulation's in here, I'm going to start running the PEX. Like I said, I'm going to do from the sink back. And once we get all that figured out on the inside and we stub out into that box, this is what we're going to be using. Little pre-installation here. This is a 12-volt C-flow pump, so it'll pre-filter the water. I am also going to figure out some type of a filtration system, obviously, as I do my rainwater collection off of the cabin roof and before it goes into my storage tank. But I'm going to create a plumbing board, I think, get all this mounted, screwed in, and then I'll mount it to the inside of that box. I think that's what I'm going to do. Water comes in. This is drawing it from my 3/4 PEX. It'll be reduced down to 1/2 inch. Then it'll push through here. Now this is an accumulator tank. It makes the pump work less, gives you better pressure regulation for your fixtures going out. I guess just supposed to be better overall. I realized after I bought these two separate, I could have bought these as a kit and already mounted onto a board with this pre-wired into that board with little spring compressed terminals for your power, and with the pre-filter and everything, and these two plumbed together. It was more expensive and I didn't see the price difference. This is obviously a cheaper way to go, but oh well. I have the PEX adapters for both sides of this as well, so that corner shower unit's going to go in nicely. I just can't do it until I get my plumbing in and through that area. So here we go. I don't see any screws in the way from the top, but that doesn't mean that there's none that I put in when I put these two plates together. So I'm going to hope I don't hit a screw here and here. I very well might. All right, well that hole made it straight through, nice and smooth. The box, where it's positioned best out there, I've figured out the side is to right about here, that way. And then the bottom, or the very top of the lid back, is right here. So I'm gonna have my cold water inside that box coming from all my plumbing and filtering and pressure tank stuff. And I'll need to be stubbing in somewhere in this location. So I've pre-drilled a cold water pass through here, and somewhere here I'll be running my water line here, because this is the height where the shower pass through, because of the shelving is, where I don't need to contend with drilling these corner studs. Somewhere in this area, on this side of the stud, will be the hot water stubbed into the cabin itself here at the bathroom. I'm gonna call these my back boards. I'm gonna have a high board here, And then I'm gonna have a low board down here. Same concept. And I'll have it just kind of mounted up right about there into the wall. Before I do that though, I may want to go ahead and make my marks where I'm going to run this in from the backside and do all my plumbing fittings, connect, do it all right on this board, bring it in, slide it into position, and then mount it. All right, I already drilled my hole in the bottom of this unit, and it's set back where this pipe is, just kind of this way though. It's only 6 inches back from this joint into the box, so this is going to curve up a little bit. If you can see it, we got the PEX coming up now from where it's going to meet the bottom of the box to the dirt. Now I have that foam insulation seal around it. Now we got to fish this back. I'm going to make my hole a little bigger in here. So this hole right here is a little bit bigger than the PEX now. It was pretty snug to the pipe. I want a little room for expansion. The pipe's going to pass through there now that I have the insulator on below it. All right, well, I can go ahead and start cutting some PEX now. So I'm going to cut a 28-inch piece of hot PEX right here. Connect an elbow going up this way and an elbow going down this way to our elbow out location. We're going to want an elbow coming off that direction. See how that goes. Keep that right about there. Crimping is not going to be easy. That's for sure. So I've got that running about right down where I want it. And I'm going to have it run down and terminate right where that X is. So I have a little extra here, so I'm going to trim this off. One of the things you always got to remember is you got to put your rings on first. So the crimping device is a little bit wider. You got to open it really wide, and then you've got to use both hands. So that is not as user-friendly as I would have hoped. Okay, here. Come on, fella. Get in there. So I've got my stub out here for my hot water out. My cold will come down and be right here. So you do want a solid stub out. They make the copper L's that come out and or a fixed location. I am going to go ahead and fudge that. This is not to code. I'm going to secure this to the wall here in a couple spots. Stud that in. Okay. So the barb for my hot water shut-off valve will lock right in place here. That is pretty solid. These screws are working pretty good, sinking right into that insulation. I think that's going to work just fine. Something like that, right? Is supposed to be. And we're going to need you. And we're going to say 11. Got that cold running across underneath the hot. Looking good. Okay. All right, well, I got all my PEX in and I wanted to make sure that my shower kit was gonna fit in there. Everything's looking good. I'm gonna have you see what it looks like when I remove it. So I wanted to run my cold water through here and it's sitting flush. Do how we're looking. Got my hot water through here, stubbed out to this wall. This is where it's gonna stub in from the tankless hot water heater on this back wall. And I've got my cold stubbed right out to here, which that will punch right inside the poly box and connect to my cold water T coming out of my plumbing board. You see that I'm kind of just in this corner side area with my plumbing, which is what I intended, to keep my stuff running into kind of one general area for ease of plumbing and not using a bunch of product going all over the place. So in reverse order here, you see I have my cold water supply, hot water supply stubbed in for my sink. When I put my wall boards in, I'll drill holes through here. These will be sitting through there, plus I'll have those stainless steel flanges that will go around here and help to support it. So the drain's set, ready to roll. I ran elbows, turned them. High is hot, low is cold. I did have to run my cold back behind this teed off hot water line, which is not optimal, but it's just the way I ended up doing it. This is coming straight from the tankless hot water heater. It tees off here. One line goes directly to the shower head, and then I'm gonna have a valve on here to turn it on and off right here. And then it tees off, the other hot water runs back to the sink where I already showed you. So I went ahead and mounted this stud block here to get my drop ear the right setback so that once I have my shiplap, it'll be right up to close to the flush edge of the front face of this 2-inch pipe, female fitting, with my bracket for my PEX barb set back in the wall. I am not going to do a mixer valve down here, drill through the fiberglass or plastic shower kit. I am just going to set my hot water heater for a hot water that you can stand for both bathing and for the hand washing sink. So the cold comes down, elbows over, and you see I'm taking advantage of the shelving in the shower kit. I'm inside those curvature gaps, so I didn't have to drill through these studs. That is it for the plumbing inside prep. Now I need to focus on my plumbing board on the outside, inside my poly box out there, my access box. We're gonna call it the shed. Plus my electrical will be in there, coming off my solar panel on the roof. I'm going to go ahead and drill through this hole right into the plastic box, then I can measure and get my exact location for where my board's going to be mounted for this hole to drill into the board. This is where we're going to be coming in, so now I can get an exact measurement for my board. The board will be sitting right about there. All right, I got everything laid out here. We are going to do our plumbing board. My intention is to get everything mounted in the order of the runs as far as shutoffs, my T's, my on-demand C-flow pump here, 12-volt pump, my accumulator with the pre-filter. Everything's set up on this board for ease of installation. So these are poly fittings with an adapter for the 1/2-inch barb for PEX B. I read the instructions. It says you can use pipe tape, Teflon tape on these, but you need to make sure you do not get any of this Teflon tape particles inside the pump system. Otherwise, it can mess up or foul up the pump. So there's that one. This thing can handle some particles, and it's known for that. pretty resilient, but it did say Teflon tape can foul it. So I want that filter face up like that, so that's probably snug enough. Now these do not have a rubber washer like inside your garden hose to seal it, so that's why I'm using the pipe tape. You can see the arrow here shows the direction in. So I got my filter on this side coming in, and then we've got this fitting going out. So I'm gonna have my boards this direction here with the wires going up towards my electrical board. It'll be up here above this board. And here's my shut off valve. I'll be able to go turn it off. And then this valve also has, this is a mountable with the feet, plus you have a drain valve. And I want that to be able to winterize and drain this system. So this is gonna allow this to get air, kind of like a weep hole, if you will, and that water should drain down back into the 3/4 PEX. Okay, looks like we're about... All right, so we got our 3/4 PEX coming off this 3/4 ball valve. Kind of angling that elbow that reduces down to 1/2 inch, so I can just kind of run up to this guy here. Let's see, let's get a run here. Six inches. Now I need my 1/2 inch pinch clamps. Need 2. Okay. Now, I'm going to continue to work our way down. So I got this, my hole pre-drilled over here, which is about 4 inches down from the top to pass into, through the box into the cabin for cold water in. So it'd be good to have this in alignment as best as possible. This thing's a little lower on this one than this one. Well, we're making some good progress here. I've got this tankless propane instant hot water heater installed on the outside of the back wall of the bathroom. I went ahead and mounted it. It's looking good here. I am running all of my plumbing from the plumbing board that's inside the poly box to the outside for my water inlet and my water out stubbing right into the wall for the hot water. I am going to use this 1/2 inch pipe insulation on the PEX once I get it installed here. So this side here on the left side is our water outlet for our hot water. that I've stubbed out for hot water in. All right, so we got these lines connected. I had to take off my fittings up here that I'd already used Teflon tape on because these barbs are, they seem to be a little bigger than say the 1/2 inch stuff here I'm working with. These are 1/2 inch barbs, but getting that PEX on there was difficult. So I had to remove it. I got my clamps on, and so now we can go ahead and connect down here. We should be good to go. I'm gonna put the foam insulation around these. And so you can see I've got that gas line running inside the box, input line coming out of the box from my plumbing board, and then our hot water in. They make an elbow piece of foam that does the elbows. I might grab one of those. But right now I'm just getting this sealed. I think that's gonna do fine. Thought while we're in here, I might as well get my insulation on my lines in here that I can get insulation around. All right, because I have this 3/4 shutoff valve right here, this was my opportunity to install a system for blowing out this or winterizing the entire system from the pump and beyond using RV style antifreeze, which is totally potable and safe. I mean, you got to rinse it out and all that. But what that does is it can winterize the pump, okay? Yeah, I could drain the system and blow it out, but manufacturer recommends for sea flow, if it's going to be below freezing and not being used, whatever, and this could be both, that you winterize this with this process. So I needed to stub in a location, pre-filter, pump, accumulator tank, and then to the fixtures that can get rinsed through with the antifreeze product. It's pink RV type material. Go hit a fixture, the pump will kick on, and we can flush that through the system. So this valve down here is at the low point. This is the shutoff valve for the heater. So if and when I want to run that antifreeze process, I have to shut this off to keep that from going up into the water heater. So when I do that antifreeze process, it'll cover from here on in the cold water into the sink. There is a drain on the bottom of the water heater. So that can be drained through this system, even though this is closed, to prevent that antifreeze stuff. Once I flush the system, I could open this valve. It has a drain on it, and then it could drain from the water heater down, from the system down after the rinse of this portion. So should work pretty slick. I had this little protective roof over my water heater, and I knew that I needed to reinforce it because any snow or ice as it comes off this metal roof is going to hit this. Well, that's pretty flimsy. I just have two side supports cut at an angle, screwed into the side of the building with this lip screwed in, and then, you know, roofing screws into that. So what we're going to do is, I have a couple extra pieces of scrap from the cabin kit. I'm going to go ahead and run these underneath here as additional supports. That's way more sturdy now. That's going to take any impact and should shed that away. Just trying to shield the heat from the exhaust, plus protect that hot water heater. I hope you enjoy this because I'm doing a lot of thoughtful cool custom special things. I am not a professional builder. The cabin was the first large thing I've ever built. And so if I can do this, you can do it. So we hope that you learn a ton from us,
Yes.
and it motivates you to make something cool on your property.
If you enjoyed this video of our progress of turning a shed kit into an off-grid bathroom, please watch right here from the very beginning.